Right now, as the clay court season intensifies under the bright Madrid sun, the Caja Mágica ** is experiencing a level of commotion that feels utterly disproportionate to the stage of the tournament. Walkways that should be bustling with the usual pre-tournament energy are instead completely overrun. Thousands of fans, many wearing Philippine flags, others sporting Spanish tennis gear, are forming dense crowds that spill into every available space, creating scenes of genuine chaos as security teams scramble to keep pathways clear and manage the surging enthusiasm. Spain's heavyweight sports newspapers and online platforms are in overdrive, publishing fresh headlines hour after hour, treating every practice session, every autograph line, and every wave to the stands as front-page material. At the heart of this absolute frenzy stands a 20-year-old competitor who only recently touched a career-high ranking of world number 29 before settling around the mid-40s. Alex Eala ***, the pride of the Philippines and a product of one of tennis's most prestigious development systems. On the surface, it borders on the surreal. Here is a young player still navigating the unpredictable waters of the professional tour, yet the atmosphere surrounding her resembles the frenzied build-up to a Grand Slam title match rather than a standard preparation week. Meanwhile, seasoned veterans and established top 10 names move through the grounds with relative anonymity, their presence barely registering amid the waves of supporters desperate to catch even a momentary glimpse of this rising Filipino star. To the casual observer who catches only fleeting clips on their social media feeds, the entire spectacle might appear as nothing more than a lucky viral wave, an internet-driven phenomenon propelled by an exceptionally vocal and dedicated online community that could dissipate just as quickly as it arrived. It becomes tempting to reduce her to another overhyped young talent, one who will inevitably falter when the unforgiving realities of consistent high-level competition, travel fatigue, and mounting expectations begin to bite. But such a superficial reading completely overlooks the carefully constructed foundation beneath the surface noise. The electric storm currently engulfing Madrid is not some random digital accident or fleeting social media miracle. It is the visible, explosive result of a multi-year strategic buildup that has been quietly sharpening its edges in training facilities and smaller tournaments far from the brightest lights. Understanding the depth of this phenomenon requires stepping back and examining the precise roots of Eala's journey. Her early and intensive immersion in the demanding daily schedule at the Rafa Nadal Academy ** in Mallorca was never just a brief developmental stopover. From a young age, she committed herself to the rigorous program on those iconic red clay courts, absorbing lessons in footwork, topspin generation, mental resilience, and the subtle geometry that clay demands. She is not arriving in Madrid as an outsider or a curious tourist hopping for a breakthrough. She is effectively returning to familiar territory, her second tennis home, where local aficionados and purists have followed her progress for years. They have seen her strike countless balls on the same surface, watched her evolve from a promising junior into a polished professional, and granted her the kind of authentic respect that the traditionally skeptical European tennis establishment rarely extends lightly. That deep connection to the Nadal Academy carries symbolic weight. It signals discipline, technical soundness, and a genuine appreciation for the sport's European clay court heritage. This geographical and cultural affinity, however, forms only one half of the powerful equation. The other half comes from the extraordinary tidal wave of support originating from the Philippines. Filipino sports fans have long earned a reputation as among the most passionate, loyal, and mobilized communities in global athletics. Whether it's boxing legends of the past or emerging stars in new disciplines, they show up in overwhelming numbers, both physically when possible and digitally across every time zone, creating sustained momentum that amplifies achievements and provides a safety net during tougher periods. Their energy is infectious, relentless, and deeply personal, turning individual matches into collective national moments. When you combine that fervent home nation backing with the earned credibility and quiet admiration from Spanish tennis circles, the outcome is a rare and potent synergy, a perfect cultural storm capable of generating the kind of broad-based excitement usually reserved for established superstars. Consider what unfolded on April 18 as a telling microcosm. Unpretentious videos surfaced online capturing Eala wrapping up an intense practice hit, nothing more glamorous than her walking off the court, pausing to sign autographs for eager fans pressing against the barriers, and offering warm, appreciative waves to the growing clusters of supporters. Within hours, those clips detonated across TikTok, X, Instagram, and beyond, racking up millions of views and sparking conversations that extended well outside traditional tennis circles. Spanish media quickly dubbed the phenomenon the Eala effect, noting how it has overwhelmed organizers with unprecedented requests for practice session access and turned routine training blocks into must-see events. Global sponsors sense the shifting winds and are moving swiftly to associate themselves with the momentum, while the air inside the Caja Mágica carries a palpable, almost cinematic charge, as though spectators and media alike instinctively recognize they might be witnessing the opening pages of a larger legacy in the making. Yet beneath the glamorous exterior of cheering crowds, flashing cameras, viral dances, and lighthearted fan engagements lies a far more serious and substantive story. The tennis insiders who matter most, the coaches, former players, and analysts embedded in the daily grind, are far less focused on the spectacle and far more impressed by what transpires behind the high fences of those exclusive practice courts. Eala has been logging punishing hours on the red clay, sharing sessions with the tour's most formidable ball strikers, including the likes of Iga Swiatek and Arina Sabalenka, on a surface that mercilessly exposes any deficiency in leg strength, cardiovascular endurance, or mental stamina, often reducing even veteran campaigners to exhaustion after extended sessions under the harsh Spanish sun. She is not merely holding her own or surviving. She is actively dictating tempo in long, bruising baseline exchanges, pushing the pace and forcing top players to adjust to her rhythm rather than the other way around. Facing someone who generates the kind of heavy, penetrating power that Sabalenka brings, most players instinctively choose caution, dropping deeper behind the baseline to loop defensive replies or swinging aggressively while hopping for the best. Eala has repeatedly opted for a more daring and confrontational approach. She steps boldly inside the baseline, taking the heavy ball early on the rise with sharp anticipation, precise footwork, and unflinching courage. This tactic not only neutralizes the opponent's primary weapon, but also robs them of precious recovery time, sending a clear psychological signal: I will not be pushed around or dictated to. It is the behavior of a player who has transitioned from eager learner to genuine threat, and doing so at only 20 years old underscores a maturity and competitive edge that belies her age. This level of physical and tactical readiness did not emerge overnight or through luck. One needs only to revisit the landmark 2025 Miami Open, where Eala delivered a stunning quarterfinal victory over then-world number 2 Iga Swiatek with a score of 6-2, 7-5. It was no fluke born of an off day for the Polish star. Observers described it as a masterclass in composure under pressure, absorbing the heaviest ground strokes, redirecting with surgical accuracy, and producing clean winners precisely when the tension peaked. That performance reverberated throughout the WTA locker room, establishing that Eala carries the instinctive giant killer DNA required to upset the established order when the moment demands it. Of course, converting hard-court success into consistent clay-court dominance remains one of the sport's most formidable challenges. The slow, high-bouncing red dirt punishes flat hitters, rewards patience and sliding technique, and turns short points into exhausting marathons that test every mechanical flaw and mental limit. Many promising power players who dominate faster surfaces have spent careers looking clumsy and frustrated on European clay, mistyming their slides, losing patience during 20 or 30 shot rallies, and watching their aggressive instincts backfire into unforced errors. Eala, however, has visibly dedicated herself to mastering this transition. Recent training footage and reports highlight smoother lateral movement, elegant sliding into open stance forehands that echo the fluid style of classic Spanish clay specialists, and noticeable physical development in her lower body that enables her to generate heavy, kicking topspin even when forced into deep defensive positions. She has refined her racket path to create more bite on the ball, turning what could have been a vulnerability into a proactive weapon that disrupts opponents' timing and forces them into uncomfortable defensive replies. Adding to the intrigue is the striking duality in her public image. Away from competition, Eala projects an approachable, youthful charm, smiling warmly during fan interactions, sharing relatable social media moments, and radiating an engaging personality that draws people in. Yet the moment she steps onto the court, that friendly exterior gives way to a focused, almost ferocious competitor who unleashes athletic violence and tactical precision with relentless intensity. This contrast can create genuine psychological discomfort for opponents, who must reconcile the approachable young star they see in highlight reels with the uncompromising baseline force staring them down across the net. Perhaps her most formidable advantage, however, resides in the mental domain. A resonant comment from her father has circulated widely and struck a chord across the tennis community. He framed her development with a powerful metaphor: if you truly aspire to become a lion, you must be willing to live inside the lion's den. Eala has echoed similar sentiments, expressing that she has earned her place in that dangerous environment and sees herself as a lion still maturing. While many high-ranked players retreat into protective bubbles of quiet and routine to safeguard their mental energy, Eala appears to draw strength from the very chaos that surrounds her. The roaring crowds, relentless media scrutiny, flashing lights, and the weight of national expectations do not seem to burden her. Instead, she channels that external energy, using it as fuel to sharpen her focus and elevate her performance when the stakes are highest. This advanced psychological approach transforms matches into deeply asymmetrical contests. Opponents must contend not only with her improving serve consistency, notable gains in first serve percentage allowing her to seize early control, her aggressive return positioning that strips away recovery time on second serves, and her refined topspin patterns that punish predictable defensive slices with swinging volleys or crushing replies. They must also navigate the external environment she has learned to weaponize. The wall of sound from thousands of passionate supporters, the amplifying effect of Spanish and international media, and the collective emotional investment of an entire nation riding on every point. For a veteran, beating her fulfills basic professional duty against a younger challenger. Losing, however, risks immortalization as another chapter in her expanding reel of highlight upsets, a public symbol of the guard changing. That imbalance grants Eala a liberating freedom, minimal downside, enormous upside, and the license to hunt top seeds with the cold, calculated aggression of a predator operating in its natural habitat. At just 20 years old, having already achieved a career high of number 29 earlier in 2026, and consistently competing at the WTA 1000 level, Eala's developmental curve aligns with those of players who eventually reshape the sport's upper echelons. She is clearly uninterested in settling for the role of a solid regional standout or national hero alone. Her trajectory suggests a broader ambition, contributing to a fundamental shift in the global tennis power structure by proving that elite success can emerge from Southeast Asia with the right combination of talent, environment, and support. In doing so, she's already inspiring a new generation of young players across the region to pick up rackets, challenging the historical concentration of power in Europe and North America, and expanding the sport's cultural footprint in meaningful ways. The Lion's Den at the Caja Mágica stands fully prepared. The tension continues to build as the main draw approaches, and the wider tennis world watches with genuine curiosity and anticipation. This week carries the potential to become yet another pivotal milestone in her still unfolding story. The convergence of familiar clay underfoot, home-like support on Spanish soil, refined tactical tools, and that distinctive lion-like mentality could propel a deep and impactful run that further accelerates her ascent. The larger conversation her rise provokes is compelling. Does the rare ability to not only endure but actively thrive amid absolute chaos and intense external pressure represent a decisive, almost unteachable advantage that paves the way for multiple Grand Slam titles? Or does it harbor the hidden danger of eventual burnout, with the constant weight of expectations and spotlight potentially exacting a heavy toll before a player even reaches her mid-20s? It is a nuanced debate without simple conclusions, one that invites reflection on the delicate balance between mental fortitude and long-term sustainability at the elite level. What are your genuine thoughts on this mindset of embracing the hurricane? Does it ultimately forge future champions who dominate for years, or does it risk premature exhaustion under sustained scrutiny? And looking ahead to this Madrid Open, what is your honest prediction for how far Alexeala will advance? Will she ride the momentum to another statement performance, or will the clay and stronger field present steeper challenges? Share your detailed analysis, forecasts, and perspectives in the comments section. Diverse viewpoints make these discussions richer, and I'm truly interested in how different fans and observers are interpreting this rapidly evolving narrative. The chapter being written right now in Madrid is far from complete. If the visible energy, behind-the-scenes intensity, tactical refinements, and psychological edge are reliable indicators, we may be witnessing the early emergence of a distinctive new global tennis superstar, one who masterfully fuses the viral reach and cultural resonance of modern digital fandom with the timeless, ruthless efficiency demanded by the highest levels of the professional game. The lion has entered the den, the world is paying close attention, and the coming days promise to reveal another layer of what this young talent is truly capable of achieving. The tennis landscape feels alive with possibility, and for those who appreciate the blend of athletic brilliance, cultural bridging, and competitive drama, this is a story worth following intently from start to finish.